I think right now it needs the support and the investment at a minimum that the men get. And it's not that the men don't need more too. I just think in general, we had some very frustrating times, and these girls are really committing their lives to it. I think Noah King said in his after the match commentary interview that he felt like these girls are dedicated their lives to this, and they do, and they get very little, if anything, out of it, bar the odd day that we had on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And they lost it last year, and there's teams who are finished 2 weeks now and got very little for it. So it does need more. Frustrating things like you could rock up. We've had games where we've rocked up on a Wednesday to try and play in a particular stadium, and we were told, no, the pitch isn't playable, but it's playable for the men's team on a Friday. And little things like that, they might be genuine, but they feel a lot more when you've very little. Do you know what I mean? And the league right now is literally surviving, and I'm here probably, as I said, 4 months. There's people who've been here years upon years, and this is probably the best it's ever been, and it's still not right. So, it's come a long way, but it's still miles away.
Well, I think that was the Go United game, was it? And that probably, again, raises a bigger question of that the FAI have gone down the route of League of Ireland is what we want to do. So we want to have a men's team and a women's team. With Karen Duggan on talking about Piedmont and how the feeling there is they want to kill off the Piemonts of this world. Whereas actually, Go United, like Athlone Town, are a club of incredibly limited resources, and to suddenly say to them, well, now you're going to have two teams using up the same pitch that you probably struggled to keep 10 years ago.
Subsequently, about that Galway game, we went down the following Wednesday and wrecked the pitch for a month. Do you know what I mean? So it's not easy on them. I'm not saying that it's their fault or the particular club, but the resources aren't there. We are, a lot of these, the best thing is that we get to play in those stadiums a lot of the time. But a lot of teams at the end of the season had to go to Turner's Cross, and the pitch just wasn't playable. We ended up playing in their training ground in Bishopstown.
And there is an opportunity there now because of the government holding most of the cards to when they're talking about funding for the FAI, to say we want an equality. When we're looking at academy systems, what you're giving to the men, you now have to give to the women. What you're investing in young boys, you now have to invest in young girls at a similar rate. And if anything, you probably need to invest more on the women's side because they're coming from a much, much lower base.
But I'm looking at the group I have in Athlone, and the amount of commitment. We have girls travelling 2.5 hours each way to training. Do you know what I mean? They're not making money out of it. They're losing money just to play football. And the club know this. And I see it now firsthand. So, no, something has to be done.